What's the worst thing to wake up to? A call from work wondering where I've been all morning. That pit in your stomach when you wake up, look at your phone and see you're hours late for work. From ready to pass back out to instant anxiety-fueled adrenaline in 0.2 seconds. And then you realize it's your day off, but you're already wide awake, and there's no way you're getting back to sleep. Police. Woke up to the police knocking on our door a few days before Christmas when I was 14, saying my brother had been reported missing. Turned out the drunk fucker just fell asleep on the train and ended up in Dublin, but that was terrifying. Edit, for clarity, we live in County Cork, Ireland. I woke up because of police chasing a guy through our yard. He tripped over the bikes I had leaning against the house right where my bedroom is. That's the only reason the cops got him. There was so much yelling and threats to shoot until finally the guy cooperated. Same thing happened to me, except the dude being followed by the cops was my underage brother who stole my grandma's truck, and freaked when police tried to pull him over for going too slow. He crashed into the house. Thank God I was getting a cup of water at 2 a.m. otherwise I'd be crushed by the caving-in wall. Scariest wake up ever was out of a dead sleep to the police helicopter hovering right above my house. Thought I was in the middle of a war or something for a minute. Sheer terror and confusion. They were chasing someone through my backyard. The end of that dream where you really need a pee, and start to feel the satisfaction of warming release. Thanks to a fever, stress, some medication, and too much wine, one night I woke up to my family yelling at me, asking what the hell I was doing. As I was standing next to my open dresser drawer, peeing onto my folded pants. Sleepwalking is weird. Oh, I got a story on that one. I once got drunk, started sleepwalking and woke up to my parents yelling at me. I was laying in the middle of the stairs. I fell down about 7 steps without waking up. Left a few bruises. Good times. Someone yelling at you. It can ruin a whole day. I worked with a kid who experienced this often. He would come to school out of sorts and anxious. Little things would set him off at school and he would lash out. He would be punished, labeled a bad kid, sent home to this anxiety-inducing household again with parents who were angry at him. Poor kid was prepared to fight/fly most of the day. And of course, with all of that going on, he was learning nothing and getting behind his class, which made him more anxious because he didn't want to look stupid. Your dog gagging and about to throw up in the middle of night. Then you hearing him eating it 15 seconds later. Sounds like the problem solved itself? I'd rather they clean it up. I woke up to my dog jumping up next to my pillow and just managed to close my eyes and mouth before she vomited on my face. A tornado alarm, it's so scary. Especially at 3 a.m., while you are in a tent, and the nearest tornado shelter is a 10-minute walk through the woods in a thunderstorm. I'm from the Midwest. I visited a friend on the East Coast a few years ago. Got to her house one night about 10 p.m. I had driven 12 straight hours that day to get there. I'm passed out asleep when I get woken up by a tornado siren about 2 a.m. Completely freaked out. Turns out what we, Midwesterners, use as tornado siren, her local fire department uses when they are going out on a call. She lived less than a block away from them. Hearing a throwing up noise. I was probably in the 4th grade at the time, and I was staying the night at my friend's house sleepover. I remember being super excited, as her mom went all out and got us junk food to pig out on and movies to rent. We ate a ton of peanut M&Ms. Went to bed, and I woke up to the noise first and then the smell hit me. Peanuts, chocolate, Doritos, and the vomit smell. She had one of those day beds and I was on the pull-out bottom. I do not know how she missed me or how I didn't step in any of it on my way out the room to get her mom. There was a spot at the top of my head and the bottom of my feet and all over her bed. Her mom asked me, "Do you want to go home?" Yes. I'll call my mom. Took me a long time to eat peanut M&Ms. Started 2022 that sound. Cat vomited on our bed. Knew it wasn't a good omen for the year. I was babysitting my niece one time when she was about 4. I packed her off to bed and went to watch a movie on the couch, where I promptly dozed off, only to be woken a few hours later in complete darkness, having no idea where I was, and with a tiny, clammy little demon hand grabbing at my ankle. I've never been awake faster in my life, only to be greeted by a very confused child who just wanted a story and who no one had seen fit to tell me could get over the baby gate like a goddamn ninja. We don't tell her mother about the time Aunt Hazel almost kicked her darling daughter through a window. Mine is very similar but also the opposite. When I was 18, I would regularly visit my sister who lives about 2 hours away. I would usually stay for the weekend, babysit my infant niece and they could have a chance to go out. This particular time, I dozed off on the couch. I woke up in a blur around midnight and realized I didn't have the baby monitor. I went upstairs and saw the baby's door was open. I tiptoe in and the crib is empty. I full on panic, ran around yelling, checking all the rooms and doors, all still locked. I find my phone and there's text from my sister. Dog meds are in the window by the sink. 1:30 a.m. I finally remembered, I had come that weekend to take care of their dog while they, baby included, went to Ohio. I've never been so relieved in my entire life. Meanwhile, I bet the dog was following you around the house with a "what's all the commotion?" attitude. Waking up to 30+ missed calls with a brutal hangover and can't remember what you did last night but you know it wasn't good. Panic. If it's a blackout drunk night, just waking up having not lost your phone is a win in my book. If you wake up at home, with your phone and wallet still there, that's a total win. Hey you're finally awake. When I woke up to find my dog had diarrhea everywhere. Large puddle on the floor and also in between the side of my bed and the wall. It was completely inside the outlet. I literally had to shut off the electricity and rewire a new outlet that day. Your house burning down? Had this happened once when I was in middle school. It wasn't burning down completely but the bathroom caught fire. Had to scramble out of bed and grab the super stubborn dog and GTFO. Edit. A lot of people are asking, the bathroom caught fire from a malfunctioning bathroom fan. It was actually something my family pressed on the landlord to fix for a while before the fire occurred. Was just woken by the wife telling me a bushfire was threatening our house. Spent the last couple of hours getting it under control. Not the best 10th anniversary present. A few years ago I was awoken at probably 5 a.m. Sun was just starting to appear, by the most rancid stench I have ever experienced. It was so rank that it woke me out of a sound sleep. I am unwakeable. I will silence alarms in my sleep. I have slept through hurricanes. But this stench slapped me in the face so hard that I was up and ready to fight it at the first grasp of consciousness my body had. At first I thought it was some serious ass dog poop. But my bedroom door was still shut and it would be super weird since my dog doesn't have a history of pooping in the house. So I go on a manhunt for the source of this god-awful aroma and I absolutely cannot figure it out. Nothing on the floor, under the bed, on the bed, in the closet, in any piece of furniture etc. I opened the window, partially to let in some fresh air and partially to see if it's coming from outside. Then I walk by my python's enclosure one more time and realize that it is the epicenter of this horrific nightmare fume. I couldn't see much through the barely sunlit room, so I flipped the light switch on to see the side of her enclosure covered in a dried, crusty liquid and some bits of unidentifiable chunks. Absolutely disgusted, I have no choice but to get closer and inspect this hazmat crime scene to find out what the fuck happened and see if she was still okay. She was fine, but coiled up at the opposite end of her enclosure with her head poking up at me. Pleading. Begging. Please. Please human. Kill me. She had escaped the day before and had been fed the day before that. If you don't know much about caring for snakes, you have to let them rest and digest about 72 hours after eating, otherwise they can and most likely will vomit. Do you know what snake vomit looks like? It's just a whole animal with the head half partially dissolved in acid depending on how long it was inside the snake. In this case, I looked over and saw a rat's ass from the hip bones down, organs spilled everywhere and goo covering every inch of the enclosure on that side. She had decided to puke the rat's ass directly onto her heat rock, where some of it had been deflected everywhere and the rest had been actively baking while I'd been sleeping. The sight coupled with the scent made me lose it. I vomited all over the floor. I go and grab some cleaning supplies, toss her into a bin and soak a t-shirt and perfume to tie around my mouth and nose while I attack this revolting puke-apocalypse. As I've got my head in her enclosure, straining to hold my breath and trying to squint as much as possible so I don't have to see it as much, I turn to throw another wad of dirty paper towels into the bag I had opened up on the floor behind me to see my dog snacking on them. I vomited again. Overall, it took me an hour to get the enclosure clean. I had to give her a half-hour soak but babysit her while trying not to fall asleep so she didn't try to submerge her head in dawn. I had to brush my dog's teeth and the smell didn't leave my room for a week. Even with my windows open, 3 wallflowers and fan going 24/7. What is the most terrible reason for awakening? Leave a comment. And subscribe to this channel if you wanna see more same videos.